Ladies and gentlemen, we are back with our question and answer section. So shout out to all y'all in my Instagram DMs because this is where this question came from. So guys, if you have questions, don't be shy. Get into Instagram, put in the comments. I want to hear your questions so we can feature you on the podcast here. But let's dive into this question. All right. So it reads, need some advice here, Isaiah. I plan to sell this 50-year-old house which has red vinyl siding. Interesting. Should I change it to stucco to get a better price, or should I leave it like this and sell? So first of all, thanks, brother, for asking me about the listing. I appreciate that. But let's get into your actual question. So first thing, the cost effectiveness of vinyl siding. So vinyl siding, it's super cost effective compared to like other options. Like stuccoing your building is kind of expensive. If you want to go like masonry brick, like that's also expensive if it's not already there. So vinyl siding definitely going to be one of your most cost effective options. It's inexpensive to install, which makes it an attractive choice. That's why you see it so much around. You even see that combination of a brick or mason siding, and then it goes to vinyl siding there. But again, super expensive. I have it on a couple of my own properties in my portfolio, and I see it with a lot of clients here in Durham. So one thing to consider here is the resale considerations. Now, again, like we said with all the renovation topics earlier in the podcast, it's important to understand the return on investment when we're calculating whether to do a renovation or just kind of sell it as is. Now, vinyl siding actually recoups about 89% of its installation costs when selling a home, which is actually pretty good. I say if you can get anything over 70% when you're doing any sort of renovation, I think you're in good shape there, especially if you're selling a house there. So at 89%, almost 90%, I think that's really good. And I don't know if I would actually go the way to kind of take it all off, put the stucco up, but I'll kind of give my recommendation at the end. Another thing that you want to kind of consider with vinyl siding, extreme cold, which we unfortunately get here in Canada, does make vinyl like really brittle and kind of can be exposed to cracking, especially if it's old. Stucco is a better alternative for this because it's actually on the building. It doesn't really respond to the cold in the same way. But at the same time, we're in Canada. We get that hot, we get that cold, we get that hot, we get that cold. So I think you have to weigh whether it's more important to you as a long-time user versus the value you're going to get on a resale. Another thing here that I mentioned, but I just wanted to touch on one more time, is the low maintenance of vinyl siding. Like, it's super easy to clean. Everyone knows vinyl siding for low maintenance. Like, how many times have you been out and said, oh, I gotta maintain my vinyl siding today or this weekend? Never. You never hear that. You throw it on once and you don't talk about it for the next 10 to 15 years. So it's really good because it's a low maintenance product. Now, the drawbacks here that I wanted to highlight with vinyl siding. If your vinyl siding gets damaged, it's kind of hard to replace because over time, like the sun's going to hit it, the weather's going to hit it, and the vinyl siding, the colors are going to fade. And obviously, you don't have like faded pieces that you can just reinstall. So if you're going to install a new piece, it's going to be so obvious. You're like, oh, like that was a big hole, or that's a fresh siding there. So that's kind of a disadvantage when you do that. But something that I found, working with other investors, clients, and sellers, that in the area, there's some kind of ways to hide it. So if you have the front of the property, facing the street, which is like all the curb appeal, if you have some pieces that are broken or damaged, what you can do is you can swap them out with pieces that are located at the back of the property or at the side and the corners. The side, corners, and back don't get looked at as much. Obviously, if it's a lot, you might have to think about doing the whole thing. But if it's just a couple pieces here and there, it might be beneficial to take some from the back, take some from the bottom or the side, and add that to the front so you can maintain that good curb appeal. So, I guess you want to know about my recommendations. If I'm being honest, I would say no. I wouldn't go the point of taking down all the vinyl siding and then putting up stucco. I just don't think you're going to get your money back there. The return on investment in terms of time, money, and materials that you're actually going to put into this, I don't believe you're going to get it back. Even pulling some comps in the area over the last 180 days, I didn't see a massive difference in vinyl versus stucco siding on the exact same type of property, especially if you're going to have to do it all brand new and then sell it and you don't even get to enjoy it. You got to remember here the opportunity cost, the return on investment, and the other thing is you're going to open a can of worms. If you're going to strip off all the siding from your house, you can't unsee what you see. And I'm not saying you're trying to hide problems, but I sometimes just don't like to open up a can of worms unless I'm ready for that can of worms. So that's something to keep in mind as well. Once you take off that stucco from the siding, you're in for a ride. So you want to make sure you know what you're getting into there. So again, my overall recommendation, I would say no. I think if we put on a nice listing, We market the property well. We make sure it has all the features, interior and exteriors, maintained in a way that's satisfying to a buyer. I think we can get as much money out for the properties you're looking for and get a top quality listing there. So yes, we'll be in touch and make sure we get that going there. Guys, it's the Real Deal Durham Podcast. If you have any questions for me, please feel free to DM me, comment, leave out all their information below. I'd love to have your question featured on the podcast. We'll be right back, guys.